Alright, I'm going to finish off talking about how to divide polynomials with some more complicated problems here. So remember, our first step always in dividing polynomials is to make sure they're in descending order. I have here on the board one of the examples from the book, example 4. So I have x cubed minus 8, that is already in descending order, and then x minus 2. Now my second step, we have not used yet in the videos, but we're going to have to use here. My second step is I have to make sure that I have every power between the highest and the lowest powers I have. So I start off here with x cubed, and then I just have 8. That means I'm missing x squared and x to the first power. So I have to add those in as placeholders. So I have x cubed, but before I do minus 8, I'm going to add in x squared and x. And in order for them to just be placeholders, I have to multiply them by 0. So I'm going to add in 0x squared and 0x, and then finally add in my negative 8. So if I have a variable with an exponent, I have to have every other variable with the exponents that are smaller than that in between. So if I don't, I have to add them. So since I only have x cubed and then I don't have any more variables, I have to add in 0x squared and 0x as placeholders, and then at the end do my negative 8. That's very important. If you don't do that, you won't be able to divide correctly. So remember, the first one goes inside, the second one is already in descending order, x minus 2. I just have x, so there's nothing between x and negative 2. So I'm simply going to put that on the outside. I'm going to go through this a little more quickly since we've already done several examples. So remember, I only say x cubed divided by x. Remember, I subtract the exponents. 3 minus 1 is 2, so I get x squared. Then remember, I multiply back. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. Again, remember, very important, change the sign for both of those. So this becomes negative and this becomes positive. These should always cancel. They do. Now I'm going to add straight down. Obviously, anything plus 0 is just itself. So I have 2x squared. And then I'm going to drop down the next, which is 0x. Now I'm going to continue that same exact process. 2x squared divided by x. So remember, if I have 2x squared divided by x squared divided by x is going to leave me with just x, and then I have my 2. Don't forget that positive sign. That is very important. You have to have an addition or subtraction sign between each term. I'm going to multiply back. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. And again, very important, change the signs. I cannot emphasize that enough. I have had so many students over the years miss these problems simply because they forgot to change the signs. So change these two signs. This should always cancel. 0x plus 4x is 4x. And then remember, always drop down the next one. Now you can divide again. 4x divided by x. My x's cancel. So I'm left with just 4. Remember, very important to put that positive. 4. Then multiply back. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Now, always important, change the signs. This cancels. Negative 8 plus 8 is what? That's 0. That means I don't have a remainder. So this right here is my final answer. X squared plus 2x plus 4. Now remember, you can always check your answer by multiplying back. So I could multiply this times my x minus 2, and I should get this. If I don't, then I did it wrong. Now let me show you one more example here of dividing binomials. Dividing by binomials is a little bit more tricky here. Eraser's not working too great here. So, my next problem is 3a cubed plus a. So I have 3a cubed plus a minus 5a squared plus 2 divided by 1 plus 3a. So remember, my first polynomial is going to go inside. So I'm going to put that first polynomial inside. And remember, when I put it inside, I have to put it in descending order. And then I have to check that from my biggest exponent to my smallest exponent, I have one of each number. So you can see I have 3a cubed, a, and then a squared. So my biggest one is a cubed, so I'm going to start with that to put in descending order. My second is negative, don't forget that negative, negative 5a squared. Then I have a, then I have 2. So notice I have a cubed, a squared, a, and then 2, so I don't need to add any placeholders because I have one of each. Next, on the outside, the second number goes on the outside. Again, make sure it's in descending order. Notice it's not. I always put the variable first, so now it is in descending order. I'm going to use a black pen to make sure you guys can see this clearly. Now remember, I'm going to do 3a cubed divided by just my first one, 3a. So 3a cubed divided by 3a. My 3's are going to cancel. And then remember, I'm going to subtract my exponents, so I'm going to be left with just a squared. Just a squared. Now I'm going to multiply back. A squared times 3a is 3a cubed. And then a squared times 1 is simply a squared. Now remember, I changed the signs. These should always cancel. Remember, if there's no number, the number there is 1. So now I add straight down. Remember, when I have like terms, I add my coefficients. 2 negatives, I add, use that sign. And then remember, leave the variable the same. It's not a to the 4th. I leave it as a squared. And then don't forget to drop down your next number. Now, again, I have negative 6a squared divided by 3a. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. A squared divided by a, I subtract the exponents, that's just a. I multiply back. Negative 2a times 3a is negative 6a squared. Negative 2a times 1 is negative 2a. Change the signs. Don't forget to change those signs. Extremely important. These should always cancel. Add straight down. Remember, if there's not a coefficient, the coefficient is 1. Add the coefficients. Leave the variables the same. It's not a squared, it's just a because I'm adding. And then drop down your next number. Again, 3a divided by 3a. Notice that cancels everything, so I'm left with positive 1. Remember, you must have the signs in between each term. Positive 1. Multiply back, I get 3a. Multiply back, I get 1. Change the signs. These cancel. I'm left with 1. Remember, when I'm left with a remainder, I have to put that remainder over the number that's on the outside. And remember, this is positive, so I'm going to put positive 1 over 3a plus 1. And this answer is the whole section on the top. That is your answer. So I finish up with a squared minus 2a plus 1 over 3a minus 1. So those are some problems that are a little bit more complicated. Hopefully that helps. And this is for dividing by binomials.